just talk about the compartmentalization. For one, why do you feel like your fans compartmentalize, put you in a box, right? And then the other part of that question is, did you see it actively happening? Was it something that was progressive where you just saw it, or was it like an eye, yo, they just put me in this box?
As far as a box is concerned, I didn't really, it was something that was, I didn't really see myself being put in that box. Like when I first came out, you know, it was nothing Christian about the label I was on except for the fact that I was on it. Like my label mate was MF Doom, you know what I'm saying? So for people who know him, you know what I mean? Like that was the type of community that I was a part of in terms of hip hop. And you know, that I didn't know that that box existed to that extent. Like where if you a part of that community, it's gonna be hard for you to get out of it, you know what I mean? Like it was really like if you're not talking about your faith in every song, if you're not saying Jesus' name in every song, it's kind of like we not really supporting you. So I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that that's what Christian hip hop was. Like I thought that it was just Christians communicating their faith like I did in hip hop, but yeah, I didn't know that I was actively being placed in that container, you know what I mean? But I think once I started noticing that, I started taking steps to remove myself from it, you know, because when I came out, like I said, like I didn't intend for that to be the case. You know, I was a lot younger, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really as conscious as I am now with as much clarity, again, as I have now. So I kind of just let it happen. I didn't think that it would have like it would be that detrimental to my brand or to my to what I was trying to get people to understand. You know what I mean? So yeah, but it's been dope, kind of like rehashing for people like what it is that I really do. You know what I mean? The people that reach out to me, you know, hip hop is like telling me, yo, like your music is like really impacts my life, like you know what I mean? So that's really what it's about, just communicating what I believe, no matter what the subject matter is. I never really got into music to be so specific, like genre specific, away from the culture that I'm indigenous to. You know what I mean? Like I come from hip hop culture. You know, like I don't come from like church culture. Like when you think of Christian hip hop, from my vantage point, Christian hip hop is more attached to church culture than it is to hip hop culture. You know what I mean? Like I came up like in the church, like just because my parents took me there, you know, but later on I found out my faith was real, just living life and growing and becoming a man. But aside from that, like culturally, my culture has always been hip hop. And I try to tell people that hip hop is such a nuanced community and culture that if you think that it's wrong for me to do hip hop just because you got A, B, and C artists doing it and what they communicate, I'm gonna point to Common for you. Like I'm gonna point to Public Enemy for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna point to KRS-One. Like my favorite songs from hip hop culture that inspired me were KRS-One, Boogie Down Productions, Love's Gonna Get You, you know, Mahogany by Rakim, Children's Story by Slick Rick. Like these are, when you really listen to my music, you'll find a paper trail, like back to those songs. Like if you really pay close attention, you know what I mean? So that's really what I wanted to communicate when I got in hip hop and got in music, was what those songs communicated to me. You know, so that's really what it was.
Just the last thing about the box, right? Because when I personally first came across your music, it was, you were introduced to me as a Christian hip hop artist.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So now that I know you, we work together, it's interesting that you never wanted to be put into that box.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
how did it, like some regular Joe Schmo dude like me come across your music from the gate as your Christian artist, if that's not the goal that you had?
Yeah, I think the way that most people who came across my music, in the sense of it being Christian hip hop, were like, you know, just that thing that where, you know, people automatically conclude that you're a part of Christian hip hop because I'm a Christian. You know what I'm saying? And it's the only quote, again, religion, if that's what you want to call it, that has its own genre of music. You know what I mean? So it's like if if I was Muslim, I don't think people would say I do Muslim hip hop. You know what I mean? It's only because it's that genre of music and I communicate my faith in my music that they'll say, oh, you do Christian hip hop. But every time people tell me that I do Christian hip hop, I'm like, that's fine if you feel that way, but I could tell you what I do better than you could, you know what I'm saying? So like I tell people, listen, I just do hip hop, you know what I'm saying? That was my origins, you know what I'm saying? Like I never wanted to come into the game to be separate from the culture that I come from, you know what I mean? So people who, that's their only points of reference really for Christians who rap, you know what I'm saying? And then they're kind of like indoctrinated like with church culture to assume that if you don't call your music Christian music or gospel music, that you're ashamed of your faith somehow. When it's kind of like, nah, like me being ashamed of my faith is me being ashamed of my faith. Like me saying I don't do Christian hip hop has nothing to do with my faith or me being ashamed of my faith. You know what I'm saying? It's just me being accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never even felt comfortable like doing shows like in like Christian arenas, like church arenas. Like I never felt comfortable there. I don't feel like that's the place for hip hop shows. Like I always felt like that. I never felt like I always felt like I was being looked at like I had two heads. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I feel like I overstayed my welcome to a degree too. You know what I'm saying? I felt like it was time for me to move on. And, you know, even in terms of hip hop culture, like I'm not looking to be accepted there either. Like when I came out with Pages of Life, I wasn't making that album to be accepted by hip hop. Like I was making that album because that's the culture I come from and that's what I wanted to communicate. It was people who were part of hip hop culture that had pushed back for some of my content too back then. But I wasn't trying to be accepted by them, you know what I mean? I'm still not trying to be accepted by them now. You know, I just wanted to make what I make, you know, and you really have an alternate market now that's similar to like the underground market back in the late 90s when I started. You got like hip hop and then you had like underground hip hop. So now you got mainstream hip hop and you got like the indie market. So if anything, I feel like my music is more attached to the indie market. Like I do everything myself. Everything I do is out of pocket. I'm the artist and the label, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like I do what I want. Like I don't have to, you can't buy me, you know what I'm saying? Like hip hop can't buy me either, you know what I'm saying? Like I say what I want to say in my music. Like I'm not here to be politically correct in terms of hip hop either. If they don't like what I gotta say, then it's just not for them too. It's for the people who resonate with what I'm trying to communicate. So that's really it.